Years ago, I had 4 stallions living with 45 mares, and I never had a stallion fight.
Wow. How do you manage that?
Well, the boys were all born about the same time.
Yeah.
2 belonged to Frank Pennicott, 2 were mine, but they all lived together because I looked after them, and I looked after a cow and 2 calves for him as well. So everybody lived together. And there was all fields and no houses. There was no Tyrrellstown, there was no Wellview, there was no Parslickstown, there was no Castle Curra, there was nothing. So my horses used to roam the neighbourhood.
Wow.
And the eldest fellow was a purebred Arab. He was the boss. And his mother was the chief boss, so she wouldn't let them fight. I had cats, and I had a mad Siamese cat. And he used to attack all humans. And when I first had him, I had to feed him with a shovel in front of me. And after that, when he got used to me, he agreed with me. But if anyone else, he'd bite anyone else in the ankles. Oh yeah, and he'd do the twist up the road after strange boy cats if they came near my girl cats. Oh yeah, Ballyhigh was his name. Somebody stole him in the end, but he was a great cat. And all my half Siamese kittens were so popular, people line up down the road and round the corner for them. Oh yeah. Oh yes, he was a great cat. But he used to like to attack an old woman living in my house. He'd wait under a table in the hall, and then when she came past, he'd go yum, bite her heels.
So, Jenny, you were telling us about that rabbit that came here when you had your dog, your grey.
Oh yes, the rabbit came out of the rabbit warren, rushed up to my dog, whizzed round his leg, laughed at him, went back to the rabbit warren, sat looking at him, and then the dog decided that, oh yes, I'm going to get that rabbit, dived down to the warren. Rabbit said, ha ha, went down the warren and left him standing. But he didn't realise that the rabbit had gone up and gone round his legs until it was sitting by his bloody rabbit warren. And then he dived down, and the rabbit had the last laugh. Oh, the rabbit had a good laugh. Then down it went, down the hole it went. Down the hole, and the dog didn't know what had happened.
And you said was your caravan over there?
No, it was over here.
Over here?
I had one over here one time, but the last one I lived in was over here.
And you let the animals sleep in there?
Oh, they used to come in. You couldn't stop them coming in. They wanted to come in, they came in and out.
And you said once you went...
Pig and all.
You went in there and you found a fox sleeping there?
No, that was the old caravan I had here. Oh, and the goats were in the front room, and I found a fox in the back room. And I couldn't believe it. He never tried to get the baby goats or anything. And most foxes will eat baby goats and baby lambs, you see. And this fellow now was just going to sleep.
To sleep because all the animals.
He was curled up asleep, and I climbed in, sat on the couch, and just looked at him. And when he saw me looking at him, he took fright and ran. But I wasn't going to harm him. I just was so amazed. Nobody was in the room he was in, and he didn't try and get in the.
He had his own chamber.
And he didn't try and get in with the goats or anything in the other room, no. That caravan has now gone and been destroyed.
Oh, who took it away?
Oh, it's gone now.
Oh.
And that is the caravan where Piglet nearly killed himself lying from overeating. He was lying down on the bed like this, nearly dead, because he'd been knocking down the bins in my old caravan, and he'd been nicking all the food, and he stuffed himself so much he had stomachache, and he was nearly dead in there.
So he made a pig of himself.
A double pig of himself. And the farmer's son came to deliver the food. I said, Piglet's dead, go and have a look. He looked in the window, and Piglet went, oh, just lifted his head and went, oh. I said, Jesus. He did that twice, and after the second time I gave him to the DSPCA because I didn't want him to kill himself from eating. Oh. And him and Faisal and Adam, my greyhound, Piglet, Adam and Faisal used to go into my kitchen in the caravan that I had over here, put their feet on the counter, put their heads up to the highest cupboard and nick my freshest bread. And I got a fresh loaf.
Right, so you were in Australia and then you came back to England?
Yes.
And then you went
No, Granny brought me back and I didn't like it. I hated it.
You hated it in Australia?
No, I hated it in England. I loved Australia. I loved Australia. And I hated England.
So why did she go and fetch you then?
Because my father was beating me, that's why. And his second wife was beating me as well.
Oh. It's terrible. So you didn't like London, no?
I hate London. Oh, don't.
Why?
Concrete jungle. I like fields,
Yes,
wide open spaces.
yes.
Sure, I lived in Adelaide. Well, I lived in Australia. I'm not made for a city.
Oh, which
You know,
part?
the rich titled people I met when I bought Arabian horses, they were really nice to me and they weren't a bit snobby. Not like these jumped up things in a London suburb. They were really nice.
Jumped up things.
Yeah, the Londoners are jumped up bunch of snobby bastards. But I mean, the titled people are country people and they're much nicer. Much nicer. They were really nice and showed me this horse and that horse and you do this and that for an Arabian horse. They were really nice to me. And you'd have thought that they would have been more sort of, you wouldn't have thought they'd have been so nice. They were much nicer than the Londoners. The Londoners are horrible. Whee! Middle class twitty wits. Oh, I like the titled people. I've actually met cousins of the Queen of England. They were very, very nice.
Very good.
Not a bit snobby. Come in and, oh yes, I said cousin of the Queen's. Come in, yes, my stud-grooms told me all about you. Come in. And we were chatting horses about bringing my mare to her stallion at one stage. And we left her rich colonel husband to mind the child. So he was left minding a 3-year-old brat, a real brat, while we had a natter about the horses. That's what men are for, you see, babysitting. Oh yeah, he was very good. But he wasn't used to babysitting like that, you know, that much. Real nice. And I met other titled people, yes, come and see my Russian Arabs and come and see this and you do that. And these people were lovely. Oh yeah.
Very good.
Lady May Abel Smith and Lady Blunt and all these sort of rich people with titles, and they were so helpful. And you do this and you feed your horse that, and it's, you know, and come and see this horse and that. And it was lovely, real nice people. I never found them snobby. I've stayed with the Guinnesses twice and ridden Mary Guinness's horse, the mother of a horse that won many prizes show jumping. Oh yeah. Oh yes, I've ridden her. Well, and the parents, oh yeah, oh they were lovely. Lord and Lady Moyne, lovely people. I love going to visit them. And Lord Moyne was telling me about a special machine he had for evening out the land after you ploughed it. And all that. Oh, he told me all about it, showed me. And it was very interesting. Of course, I love the land, you see, so, I mean, that was interesting to me. Horses and cows, and they've got Ayrshire cattle. And when we were young, we had an Ayrshire cow, so I know about them.
And then when you came to Ireland, you were breeding your own horses?
No, when I came first, I brought a half Arab stallion over that had been landed on me because he had eye trouble, and I rode and drove him all around Galway. And then I was run over the Cladda Pier and broke his leg and he was put down. And then I got my purebred Arab mare back, and she had a foal in South Park, the Cladda, so I registered him as Cladda Man and I sold him. And then I brought my mare to Dublin after marrying her to a son of the Queen of England's mare down in Galway. And then I brought her up here, and she had a lovely foal. And well, her daughter was born on this man's farm, and then I brought the two of them up here. I bred 3 foals over here from Prairie Petronella. I bred Namaquah and Cladaman Namaquah and Shakila bint Shamil. Yeah, I think that was one I bred. Or was it, wait a minute. Was that by Shamu? I bred a third daughter with, no I didn't, it was by Indian Morning. My third foal out of Priory Petronella was by Indian Morning.
Okay.
And I gave her to the girl who looked after my horses for a while because she wanted the foal instead of the money, so I gave her it.
Okay.
Yeah. And she was by Indian Morning, and I looked after Indian Morning and many horses for the lady that owned it, and many mares and foals for 3 or 4 weeks. She wasn't nice to me at all, and I looked after the horses when she went to England to see her daughter, and when she came back she was really horrible. And so I left, and I left the foal with my friend who had a different stud farm, the one that I gave the youngest foal to. She had a separate stud farm, and she looked after my horses for me for a while, because so I wouldn't have to leave them with the nasty lady. She looked after them, so I gave her the foal in return for the keep of the horses. And I brought 2 of them to Dublin, Priory Petronella and Namaquah, and then Priory Petronella, I was riding her back one day from the beach, and somebody was leading Namaquah, and we walked through a puddle that was near an electric pole, and she got electrocuted and fell dead under me.
That's terrible. In front of you?
Yeah, I was sitting on her.
Wow.
So,
And nothing happened to you?
no.
Wow.
And
That's amazing.
yeah, and then I sued the Dublin City Council, and I got some money after 10 years. And I kept...
You sued them? Why?
I kept Namaquah. Well, they should have made sure that that pole was safe.
Okay.
Yeah. And kept Namaquah, and then I bred foals off her. I brought her to Ballycoolan.
Very good. So, are there any final words you want to say?
No, I think that's all I can say because I'm tired now. And
Tired?
yes, I want to go.
Awesome. Listen, it's been absolutely lovely speaking with you. Thanks for the interviews.
Oh, thank you.
You've got a lot of patience, but we really enjoyed your stories. Thank you, lovely.
And do you think I've done well with the children?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, the fact that their lives have changed and that they've got this, these options now with the horse training, horse jockeys, winning horses, winning races and all. It's just awesome. That wouldn't have happened if they didn't know you.
Huh?
That wouldn't have happened if they didn't know you.
Yeah, probably. I'm going.
Wow.
Yes.
I would wait for the rain to stop.
No. I'll give you back I'll give you back this in a minute and do it my...
So what about this?
I've got rain mats on me. I've got riding things on me.